What's up, you guys? Wow, we are back with another video. How y'all doing out there? I want to make sure the sound is good. I want to make sure the sound is good. So give me a second. I just want to make sure if the sound is good. If you all can hear me, press 1. We're going to get this show actually started. Okay. This has been really, really lit to see you all yet again with another live. Okay. We're going to give a couple of shout outs to all the producers that are in the room. I want to give a shout out Blue Skies. I see you there. I see you, Day. Any other moderators in the house? I can highlight your comments. We have any mods else in the house? If you're in the house, I will definitely highlight your comments. Okay. Any other mods that are here? I don't see Day and I don't see Blue Skies. Any other mods? Let me know. Keep commenting so I can highlight your comment or anybody else. We're going to start highlighting comments in here. So this is a feature that I rarely use, but I'm definitely going to use this. Okay. We're really lit. All right. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you to all of my supporters that are here. I want to give a special shout out to a mother that watches our platform. She is in a nursing home, but she watches us weekly. I want to give a special shout out to her, Sister James, for her support, being in a nursing home, and yet she watches me. And I had the pleasure of visiting her. And she watches our platform and she's in a nursing home. So I want to say thank you, Sister James, for your support, for watching our platform and entertaining. I did a great job entertaining her there, as well as some of the residents that was there. We were just sitting there getting the gossip and just talking, right? You just never know who watches our platform. But I was sitting down and why I do this a lot, that I sit on my platform and I Google myself. I do it, baby. So I always do it every single day. I log on YouTube. One of the things I do, I watch all the blogs, whatever, but I always YouTube myself and Google and see who's saying what about me. And I ran across a video and they were doing commentary, about the library situation. I'm like, oh, okay. Let's listen. And I watched it from beginning, middle, and end. And this particular person, really critical of the Wiley Show, okay, because we came out and defend Tasha K, and they are so critical of that. But they watched the video, and I'm listening to the video, it was some things that were said that really didn't I kind of disagree with. And when it comes to psychosis, and I think people are not understanding when people have psychosis and when they hear voices, when they're paranoid, they don't understand it, right? Unless you're a professional, you don't know. And I'm not a professional. I could just only tell you my experience, with this situation. But let's talk about this again. Okay. When we released a statement, I want to thank you to that sister that wrote that on our behalf and did that. That's really well. Okay. Did a beautiful job writing it and people were reading it and stuff. So when I was, before, I'm going to speak up the morning of the library situation. Okay. I want to speak about a couple of days before. Can we do a couple of days before? Let's do a couple of days before. I've started to notice that my appetite of being sexually active have just increased. I've started to notice that. And I just started to just have these random partners, right, off the app. And I was just having these random guys just come over every single day. I had just random guys over every single day, back to back to back to back to back. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And I lost a lot of weight. I mean, you could just tell, you could just see a little 6-pack. I literally was like skinny because I wasn't eating, but I had just appetite of just doing it. And so every day I would have guys just boom, 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 just coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. In the particular apartment that I stayed at, you literally would come up the stairs and I can see you literally come up. I could see you come up, and it was a white part that I used to like to just have, make love in this little part of the apartment. I didn't take you to my bedroom because I didn't feel like, as soon as you come to the door, I'm butt naked, I'm ready to go, right? So we would do what we have to do, and we would do it, and it was like every day. And I just noticed that it was really weird. Like I would talk loud and people um I didn't know if I was coming or going. I was like, well, I'm gonna do this project, I'm gonna do this, and I'm just watching all these videos. Papers was just everywhere, and I'm a very clean person. And I started to notice that my apartment was just everywhere, papers just everywhere. And this another thing that I did. I really do not allow a stranger to live with me. So I had this apartment and I decided to get a roommate off the Craigslist, right? Never met this woman. I don't even know if the woman was a murderer, had a criminal record. I just don't know. I met her. She had her share of the rent. And I said, oh, you can stay with me. Randomly let this woman stay with me. And I don't even know this woman's name, and I allow her to live with me. Right, I had a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment. Then I had another apartment, so I had 2 apartments in my name. I just got 2 apartments. Right, I was trying to help somebody else. I was like, "Oh, you get an apartment in my name, no problem," and I would just do it. And I just was stuck with just 2 apartments, a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom. So I allowed this woman to live with me, and didn't know what she was, her history. She just had her rent money, and I allowed her to stay with me. And while I was there, I would go live on Facebook. I really wasn't a YouTuber, and I would just be really loud all day, every day. And she said to me, when do you sleep? I don't see you sleeping. You up 24 hours a day. You don't sleep. You just be pacing, you be arguing, you be cussing your mom out. When do you sleep? And I'm like, oh, I sleep or whatever. I'm like, well, she weird. And I was the weird one because I didn't sleep for those many days. And I would be just cussing people out and just it would be weird. So the morning of the library situation was really weird. Okay. I had it in my mind that you should run for president. Okay. I had it in my mind that I should run for president, even though I'm not old enough to run for president. I'm 27, 28 years old. And I post on my website that I had at the time, thewileyshow.com, and I said, I'm running for president. And so I thought that I received the phone call and somebody hanged up. So I decided to call the cops. So I called the cops and I was just saying all this weird stuff that I'm a Nation of Islam supporter. And I was just over and over and over. Called the cops about 5 or 6 times I called. And I kept calling, I kept calling, I kept calling, and I kept saying, I don't remember everything that I was saying. I just remember that I called the cops like a lot of times that morning. So I noticed that, I got a bang on the door, and it was about a couple of police officers, right? Had weapons and everything. And they kept asking me, do you have a illness? Do you have a mental illness? Like, what's going on? Have you been diagnosed? I'm like, you a wicked devil. Get out of my apartment. You blankety blank blank, just cussing these Dallas police officers out and just really cussing them out. And I noticed, like, where's my roommate at? I didn't hear her leave out. Like, I didn't hear none of that. I was just cussing them out. And they were really to just take me out. And I was just cussing them out. So, they ran my background. Nothing came up. So they all left. All the officers, they left. So I told my roommate that was staying with me. I said, hey, take me to my cousin's house. And I said, oh no, I can't let you do that because something's gonna happen to me. So no, you can go ahead on. I'm going by myself. So I left out her car and I'm just pacing up and down the block, I thought cars were slowing down. I thought they were staring at me. I thought they were looking at me and all this stuff. I'm like, what the world is going on? And some told me, why don't you just walk to your cousin's house? So I'll just walk blocks and blocks and blocks to where my cousin stayed at. And he stayed right by the library. And I told him, I said, hey, Tank, I want you to be, my press secretary. I'm running for president. And I was yelling. And I was like, no, don't close the door. They're looking at me. They're going to try to get me. And I really thought people were after me. So he said, what do you mean keep the door open? I said, no, they're trying to get me keep the door open. I want the satellites to see me. I don't want nobody to take me out. So keep the door open. So he said, give me your phone. I'm like, okay. Gave him my phone. And he said, why don't you take a shower? Because I haven't took a shower in like weeks. All right. So I took a shower and I put on these shorts that he gave me and some clothes. And he said, well, I have to go to work. Mind you, he had to go to work. Mind you, I was scaring him because I just bust into his room just saying all this random stuff. He said, I have to go to work. And I said, cool, go. So where he lived at, I decided to go and if you know in these apartments, they have what they call like a little office where you can like be on the computers for the residents and you can, sit down and drink coffee, like a little lounge for the residents of the apartment complex. So I went there. What the media don't tell you, because they would never tell you the full story, I went inside there, that place, and I printed out. Should I say the name who I printed out? Okay, I'm gonna say the name. I had printed out some pictures of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I had it in this mind. I had this in my head that I was a Muslim, so had his picture, and I printed out whatever it took. I just printed out a whole bunch of piece of papers, and I was just passing out to people. They was like, this is weird. Like, no, I don't want that. And I was getting real angry. So I just pushed all the papers up in the air, threw the papers all up in the parking lot, threw it everywhere. This is before I got to the library situation. Did it all there. And I'm just hearing these voices, like clear as day, as me talking, it just clear as day. Why don't you just go to the library? Just go there. Go, all these people doing this and never don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? And so I saw the library. I went there and instantly I was just talking to them, just giving people papers, just talking to them really weird. And I'm like, do you have this book? You don't have that book. Y'all are crazy. This don't make no sense. Just really speaking up to the librarian that was there. And then I was just putting in my head, I'm like, oh man, she's something wrong with her. She's against you. So I just start arguing with the lady. We just going back and forth. And I was cussing her out, saying that she's trash. I was talking about Black Lives Matter. I said, this is crazy. You're worried about me and you're afraid. I should be afraid of you. Your people are killing my people. And we were just going back and forth, back and forth. And they sent the security guard and they said, oh, that's the enemy. So that to me, I just instantly just snapped and I just proceeded to pass out all these papers, threw the papers up. Then I went to the bookshelf and I'm like, okay, I see these books and I don't know where this strength came from, but I just literally the bookshelves and it was whoosh. And I picked it up and I threw it down. Whatever I had, I didn't know where this strength came from because I never in my life did this, right? Push the books down. Then a security guard come. I said, if you come up to me, I guarantee you this is gonna be the last time you touch a Black man. Don't. And it was a white security guard. So he stopped. He was like, okay. He stopped. So I'm just throwing the books everywhere, doing this, and I was naming names, right? Naming all type of people names. Sandra Bland, Emmett. The only part that they got was the Emmett Till part, but I named a whole bunch of people names doing that exchange. I don't remember all the names, but I know I named a lot of people names, and so people were recording. So this and boom, 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 just all the books, and so I got the chair, and I don't even remember saying Emmett Till. I just don't remember all the names. I'm like, oh, okay. So I remember this chair, and this chair was really heavy. It was a heavy chair up in there. And I picked it up, and next thing you know, I just threw it at the door. And next thing I know, the alarm of the library just literally going off, and everybody just running out. And some told me, in my mind, run out with him too. But take your clothes off. They're gonna take you out. So you make sure you take off all your clothes. Literally, like a voice telling me. So I did exactly what that voice told me. I took all the clothes off, nothing, no socks, no underwear, no nothing. I was literally naked. And I could just remember a person saying, oh my gosh, you don't have on any clothes. Like, oh my gosh. And boom, I'm just running around. Ran back to the apartments where my cousin was at. Finally, the ambulance showed up and then the police showed up. But I remember that only thing I had in my hands were like my ID, everything on my wallet, and I was just passing them my documents. And they was asking me. So got on top of cars, just literally butt naked, no clothes on. And I could just and it was just hearing all these different type of voices. And some just told me, just run home, run in traffic. And I was listening to it. I'm like, oh, okay, let me run home. I'm done with this. So and somehow this police officer came out of nowhere and said, freeze or stop. I don't remember, but I just remember when I was tased, I literally hit the ground. Boom! And blood was just everywhere. My chin was busted. It was everywhere. And I say that, and I'm like, man, what the world is going on? And I went to the hospital. And I was so angry at those people. I mean, cussing. It was like a scene out of a movie. They're trying to hook me up to IVs. They're trying to treat the chin, blood everywhere, blood out of my stomach. And I was just fighting back, cussing everybody out. So they said, we have to give them something. They were just shooting me up with something. And it literally had me just start singing, gospel songs after that. I do remember that. And I just remember going to sleep, and then there was a computer in that hospital bedroom, in the hospital room that I was in. And I said, they're watching you. So some told me to break the computer. So I got up, I destroyed the computer, snatched it out of the wall that it was there, and threw it to the ground. And did it again. So they had to come back and give me some more shots to calm me down. So it was again. So then they transferred me to Green Oaks, and it was such a problem and an issue. I didn't want to be there. Then I tried to leave, tried to escape. They put me in 4 point they strapped me down and stuff like that. They put me in a room by myself, and they had like a little window where they keep eye on me. All that stuff was like literally going on. So then once I was able to calm down, I was able to like talk to the doctors there, and they was able to tell me, okay, we're diagnosing you with like bipolar, with psychosis or some of that nature. And I'm like, what is that? I don't have bipolar. I'm not crazy. Blah, 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 blah. You're the enemy and all that. And so I was just arguing all that. They said, well, you can't go home. And I said, I need to leave this place. I couldn't leave. They literally had a court order where I was a danger to others and to myself. So I could not leave. And I said, I'm going to fight this. And I never did fight it. I just was just there. And then for the first time in a long time, I started to go down to the cafeteria and eat, because I haven't like ate a meal in like days, right? And it was been a long time since I slept. So when I got there, I started to feel much better. My appetite started to go back. I started to feel more like myself, more regular, right? And went there, started having conversations with the psychiatrist, tell him stuff about my childhood. I told him about my mother, and everything like that. Then I started to notice like a history with my family. Like they was like, "Do mental illness run in your family?" I said, "My mom is addicted to alcohol. She was diagnosed with mental illness. My sister was diagnosed with mental illness. My brother was diagnosed with mental illness. My uncle was in a mental institution. My granddaddy tried to commit suicide." So I was just telling them all of my family history, right? And they were just telling me that you have this diagnosis. You are diagnosed with bipolar. And for a long time, I resisted that. Once I got out of the hospital, I said, I'm not bipolar. These people are crazy. And I start feeling like myself. And after that, didn't take the medicine. I had to go back to the hospital. Went and they kept me in there again by a court order. And got out, got a job. And this is when I had got a warrant out, for my arrest. They said, you have a warrant out for your arrest. And during that day, I was going to put myself back in the hospital because I wasn't myself. I was hearing voices. I was talking to myself. I wasn't eating again. And that was the day that the police, and this time it was about 8 or 9 of them. I never had this one, 8 or 9 police officers. So they show up, they arrested me right outside the job that I worked at. I remember like it was yesterday, getting my paycheck, and they arrested me. And they said, you have a warrant, and the charges, they didn't never tell me the charge. So I went to Carrollton jail, and I noticed, I'm like, oh, this is a nice jail. They had some chocolate chip cookies, they had books, it was really nice. I thought, never been to jail. And I think I called my mom and told them what was going on. And once I left there, they said, oh, we need to transfer you to Dallas County Jail. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So it was me and some white folks that was in there. And we was having a conversation. It was hot too inside of that, truck or whatever. They had an air on. So we went to Dallas County Jail. There was all these folks that was there, right? And I literally had on my uniform there in the line, waiting to get processed. And I was so scared, right? I was like so scared that happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in jail. I was seeing all these horror stories about being in jail. And when I tell you, I'm like, oh my God, someone gonna get like assaulted, like raped or whatever. So really sad and didn't want to be there. Then I'm hearing all these voices just going in. And And I told the person, like, I am suicidal. I told her, because at that point, I just did not want to live. I didn't want to live, period. Right. And I tried and it never could get it right. And so she told me, she said, "Are you suicidal?" I was like, "Yes, I am." And I tried and just not feeling myself. Real sad, really depressed. She said, "Okay, that's fine. We're going," and in the guard told me to give. I had to submit him my shoestrings. I do remember that, and I was able to contact my cousin, and for him to, because finally I was able to see the bail. I think the bail was like $5,000, and I called him, let him know, and I think he posted. Yeah, he had posted bail, but before that, they put me in a mental ward, and they had me just some paper clothes. Like, it was like paper, right? It wasn't even cloth, it was paper. And I was saying all type of stuff, people eating their feces, it was all type of stuff there. And I was there, and I just remember them talking to me like, "What medicine do you talk? What medicine do you take?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, blah blah blah." Then I was crying, then I was cussing people out, then I was pacing. It was all of that. Then the next day, I went to sleep. Then the next day, I woke up and they called my name and they said, "Come with us." And I'm like, "Where I'm going?" I didn't say. And then one of the people that was in the room, they said, "Oh, bro, this the area where you're going home. Somebody must have like posted your bill or something. You're getting released." I'm like, that was good. And I could just remember, leaving there and just crying, just so sad. I just didn't know. And during that time, I really did not have the communication with my family. I was just out there, just whatever. And them voices was on me so hard. And I could just remember it. It was just clear as day, like, your life, nobody love you. Look at you. You're by yourself. You're in this city. You don't know nothing. You're dumb. And I'm just hearing all these thoughts. And I could just remember just crying and just crying and crying and I was so sad. And so I got there, to my cousin's house. And and then I went back to the apartment that I had. Then the lady she robbed took everything, took my computer. She just took my iPad, everything that I had there. She stolen it. Right, the one that I got from the Craigslist. Everything was like gone. So yeah, everything was gone from there. She pretty much robbed me, and I was just sad. So hearing this, I was really at a bad place. When I speak about the library situation, um it was a really low moment of my life. It really was. It was very low, you know. Um and when I look back, I'm like, wow. And still to this day, when I got arrested, I had to pay restitution. And let's get into the court thing. Can I get to the court thing for a second? So I'll go to court, and it was a long, lengthy process. So I found this attorney, Mr. Williams. Shout out to him. Shout out to you, brother. He represented me. First, I interviewed him, and he took my case. And at that moment, the state wasn't responding. But before I hired him, I had a public defender. He was representing me, and I wasn't getting anything. He was answering my phone calls, but wasn't giving me nothing, wasn't fighting for me or nothing, right? So I found this black attorney, and I said, "Hey, I want you to represent me." I interviewed him, and I said, "Hey, I got a case. Can you represent me?" He was based out in Houston. I'm in Dallas. He said, "Yeah, I can represent you," and he cost about, like, I think $5,000, and I was on a payment plan, and I hired him to represent me. So he took the case, and he was able to negotiate a deal, because at first the state wanted they wanted 30 something thousand dollars. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't have 30 some thousand dollars. I don't have it." Right. And he was like, "That's some BS. You only messed up a couple of things in one computer. It's not no 30 some $1,000 damage. We're going to try to negotiate it." So it was down to $12,000. And he said, "Can you do 12?" And I said, "No, that's the one." He said, "Listen, I can't negotiate no more. That's like the one that I can do is like $12,000." And I said, "Okay, $12,000." Um, and I went to court, and I could just remember when I went to this, because I was in and out of court, and I couldn't say nothing, so my audience didn't know. I couldn't speak on it. I couldn't say anything. He said, "Don't talk to your audience about it." I said, "Cool." And I remember sitting in a parking lot and just bawling and crying. And I remember Monique, she released the Instagram video, and it was like sometime last year, and it was something like, black man, you're beautiful. If nobody ever told you that, thank you. And I needed to hear that message because I was just over it. I was just crying. I was just so sad and depressed. Went to there, and he said, "Well, I have some good news. Um, they're gonna do restitution, and you pay back that, and you'll be on probation." And I said, "Well, will I have a felony? Because that will hurt my chance of getting a job." I mean, I know we won't have a felony, you won't have that. If you complete everything, you can even get off probation early, but you won't have a felony conviction on your record. I said, okay. If I would have known better, I would have negotiated something better, but I didn't know. So I said, I'll say, okay, cool. So all of that happened to me, and I was yet going through this. Probably never had issues with the law. Everything had a clean record. Nothing. I never had an issue. And it was just all mental. So one thing I can say about being on probation and stuff like that, I met some amazing people. And I met a lot of white folks, right? That had issues with the law, a lot of DUIs. And they had me going to this class. And this particular woman, she was a psychiatrist, and she was there. And I had to take this course. And I just fell in love with her. Like, she was giving me great advice. I would come and be able to talk to her. I was able to talk to things in my childhood. And then she kept asking, and we were talking just really, really great. And all of that, she said, you will be fine. And I said, and I started to really make all the payments, right? And then a blessing, my producers, people that to watch our show, started to send us checks and started to send us money orders, started to send us cash apps. And they said, don't say anything, just pay it off. And I did. And I paid it completely off, right? And I definitely want to thank them for those that actually paid it off. That was $12-some thousand that I did not have. I did not have that, right? I didn't have 12,000. And I wanted to pay it off, and we actually paid it off early, super early, and we want to thank them for doing that, and we want to thank our supporters for helping us to do that, and also pay off the lawyer. We paid that off, so it was no debts. All that was completely paid. We were able to pay the car off. That was completely, paid off, and we want to thank them all for that, for that support that they gave this show. And the reason why I talk about this, because it's my story. I have to say it. I would love to get a psychiatrist on to speak about it, but it is real. It is really real. And the library is still standing. You could go check out a book. Really nice, by the way. New computers, new bookshelves, and so it's not destroyed. It is still up for business, and all of that good stuff. And I know, and I said this years ago to someone. I said, the higher I go up, the more they talk about the library situation. It was a lot that was told, though. They said Wiley did this to go viral. I want to speak to that. During that time of the library situation, I did not do that to go viral, right? I wish I can get up here and say that, but that's just not the case. I wasn't really even doing YouTube, right? I wasn't really, when I say doing YouTube, like going lives and all that, that wasn't the case, right? I may do like a video talking about like Steve Harvey or something, but I really wasn't like a YouTuber. It was just like a hobby. I wasn't really there. If you go back to like my old videos, I was maybe on Blog Talk Radio interviewing people, but it wasn't nothing, no audience, no nothing, maybe 10 views, maybe 15 views. It was nothing. I didn't do that. Oh, I'm gonna do this to go viral. No, if that was the case, I would have said it. But I knew once I got helped and got diagnosed and got treatment, and I started to get into the business of YouTube and I started to gain, I knew that people was going to use that. I'm not dumb. I talk to people all day long and I say, oh, they're going to use this. They're going to talk about this library situation. It's going to come up, right? Because people watch this show and they want to do something. They want to stop the support. People are mad that people will give me cars. They didn't give me cars, a car, and which was $1,000 for a down payment, and which I paid for the car completely off. They only helped me with the down payment. They ain't like, oh, hey, Wiley, you can take this car. Help me with the down payment. And we want to thank them for that. And people would say, oh, he did this to go viral. So far from the truth. Oh, he drove to the library. Didn't drive to the library because I didn't have a car, right? I walked to the library. Did drive. No one took me. Okay. The young brother that was inside the library that day. Let's speak about the library. Many of you all don't know because this person that interviewed them, they can't be on YouTube because they're on probation and they have a court order not to be on YouTube. But it was a woman named by TSCC. She found the young man. Me and her were talking. I said, why don't you interview the young man that got interviewed by the media? And new bloggers, y'all try to track him down and interview him. That's how you do a story. Anyway, I told her, I said, why don't you interview him? She said, oh, you think so? I said, this is social media. I can't reach out to him because it's an open case, but you can. So she reached out to him and left him a message, and he answered maybe like a month later. And he came on the show and he said, clearly, you know what, this guy had an illness. And he's like, clearly he was going through, and what he was saying, he wasn't lying. He was really going through. And that young man was actually homeless at the time. And that young brother that you saw in the media, he was actually homeless, and he would actually go and use the library Wi-Fi, and that's why he was there. And he actually did an interview with VS, and they were talking about it. But I definitely remember that for that, and it was definitely good to have that conversation for that. And I remember that. And he spoke about it. He said, oh, yeah, I remember when he took his clothes off. The media are not going to show that. And he had said so much stuff to the media, they chopped it to like that little small clip because they would never, ever give you the full story. They would just make this, oh, this is a black man. And this is the thing about the police, though. I'm going to call them out. I was in that library for about, the light-skinned boy. I was in there for about 30 some minutes. It was a long time I was in there. It felt like an hour. And they called the police didn't show up. They didn't show up. They did not show up. And I wonder, why didn't they show up? They didn't show up. Not a police in sight. They did not show up until the damage was done. Until I was outside butt naked. And then finally, a police officer showed up and tased me. But they didn't show up. They could have easily helped me. They knew I had a problem. They knew I was calling all day. All day I was just calling, and they would hang up the phone and then no help. So it was definitely a blessing in disguise that I got the help that I received. And I'm grateful because I could have died that day. The police, they could have killed me. When I look at the story of the young brother that was killed by the police and they mistaken the gun for a taser, that could have been me. So I identify from experience of that. That really could have been me. But the police, they failed me. They knew that I had an issue, that someone kept calling, saying all this weird stuff. They did not remove me. They didn't do any of that. They left. Well, nothing happened. And the state, they won't give me the evidence, but I do want to get them 911, that body cam footage, and I want the 911 tape. That's how you do it, right? So I need to get all that because that will help me as well, just to tell the story, right? And that's why police officers, need a crisis manager, a psychiatrist on duty to understand this, right? Because police don't know. Their job is to assess, remove the threat, all stuff like that. But they do need people that is a psychiatrist, crisis manager on duty. They do need that. So when people talk about this, girl, I'm okay with people talking about the library situation. I think it's an honor and it's a privilege. And people kept asking me this question. And they said, well, why did you say Emmett Till? I'm so glad you asked me that question. Let me answer that. I was watching the Emmett Till documentary, and I remember watching it at night. I watched it and I cried. I cried and I wept and wept. A 14-year-old boy didn't do anything, innocent, just lost his life. And they came and picked him up from home at night and just destroyed him. And the way that his mother, and the thing that stuck out to me, that his mother was only able to identify Emmett Till by the ring that she gave him. And she allowed him to go from Chicago to Mississippi. And she told him, so it's different in Chicago than it is in Mississippi, mind your manners and all of that. And they did all of that. And he died at a young age. And the way how he came up out of the water, he was unrecognizable. And that stuck to me. And I just kept watching that video, and I watched it, and I watched other videos, and I was just doing research, and I was watching it 24 hours a day, not sleeping. All I was watching was a Louis Farrakhan, speeches and just Black Lives shootings, and I was watching that all day, every day, every type of thing. Lynch, I was just watching it all, and that wasn't that part too wasn't healthy to consume, and that's probably the reason why I was naming those names that I was naming. Right, I can't say that as a fact, but probably. But I do remember, watching that documentary, and it was. I still to this day can't watch it again because it was just it just broke me, and it was really, really sad watching that, and she lied on him, and to the point where many years later she recanted and said, oh no, he didn't do that, but yet he's gone, and you yet still live to tell the story, and yet this innocent Black boy is just gone. Right. And so I would hope that people would do their research and stuff like that. And I really will hope so. So, I took a lot of triggering events, a lot of it, and I'm so stable now. And when I look at it, I was watching, and I'm seeing these bloggers that say they don't, and they will not give me the evidence, Monica. Give me a second. You had posed a question, Monica. They will not give me the evidence. I want it because it will help the story. But we're gonna get it, and people will be able to see, like, damn, all this happened. But it will make them look crazy, as well. But I would love to have it, though. Honestly, I just would love to see it. But all of that happened, and so I'm looking at the videos of people making songs, and it was one particular blogger, and the song talking about. I'm like, hold up, what are you doing? And you say Emmett Till. So you think this is funny? Oh, you actually like this? And this particular brother shared some personal things to me about his mental health. He shared when he would go to jail and be homeless and have to be a prostitute. He shared these personal things, of him having issues and doing fraud and all that, and yet he went through that and told me these things, and yet you want to push a narrative on social media, and you want to make fun and make jokes and stuff and everything like that. But that's okay, because you better be careful that it's not you going through that. Okay. But yeah, people making videos about it, and they were saying Jaguar Wright. Oh, he made fun of Jaguar Wright, and I'm like, Jaguar family said she had an illness. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. And another thing too, when it comes to Emmett Till, I want to say this really quickly before I open up the StreamYard. His mother, they originally wanted a closed casket for his funeral. And his mother was like, no, I don't want a closed casket. I want them to see what they did to my baby. I want the world to see what they did to my baby. So that is why you were able to get the photos and the pictures, because his mother agreed to have an open casket, So, and a lot of people don't know, Emmett Till, the murder of Emmett Till, that kind of birth of the civil rights movement, that was back then, if you have to put a name for today, that was their George Floyd. But that kind of birthed literally a movement. That day, Black people was like, oh my gosh, this is just too much. We have to fight back. We have to, protest. Laws have to change. And do you know, to this day, they still do not have a anti-lynching bill passed. Do you know that? That to this day, on the federal level, they still do not have an anti-lynching bill passed. It's still not an anti-lynching law in this country. So that is why it is so important, do your research, right? And to have these conversation. And so it's a lot of stuff that's going on and stuff like that. So when people talk about it, it's really a lot. And I was coming up, I was really, really into history. I used to love watching like Black history and stuff like that. And I just saw some recently that it was a brother that, invented cars before Henry Ford, and it was a Black man, right? And I just learned that yesterday, that it was a Black man that was actually making cars before Henry Ford started making cars. So I'm just real interested with that. But back to the library situation. We're not upset, we're not angry. And the reason why we're doing a video is because you talk about me, I can always respond on my platform. And so I answer all the questions. We're going to open up the StreamYard link for that. And stuff like that. And people are trying to make fun of, Emmett Till. They're saying it's trying to make a dig on me, not knowing that that's an ancestor. Because there was one particular person made a video about it, and they didn't know who Emmett Till was. And and it was such a shame. It was so sad. And the person said, "Oh, I don't even read books." And I'm like, clearly, it's just an easy Google search, easy YouTube search. It's just really sad. But I would rather be clean from this than to be addicted to alcohol, because my mother's an alcoholic. And one thing about being addicted to alcohol, that's a sickness too. People don't know that is a sickness. It's one thing to be social drinker than to be a dependent on the liquor, that you got to have it every day. It's one thing to just, oh man, I drink a little sip, go out with my friend. But it's one thing that every single day you drink it up early and you're drinking cases. That's an addiction that you can't last a day without drinking. That's an addiction. That's a sickness there. And so, and that particular brother that did it, he shared some very personal things that we're not going to get in depth into it. Not today, because that's his story to share. You know what I'm saying? For that. But yeah, you can be ride high one day and knock down low too. Facts. Because everything, coming up, I never had an issue, I thought, and I just had a breaking point. And I'm so glad they don't have those clips in Chicago. I'm so glad they don't have that, because the Chicago videos is something, and they don't have those videos because it's been deleted. But before Dallas, it was Chicago videos. Okay. Yes. Oh, was my mom? Oh, yes, she was. Yeah. And I've learned to live with it, right? And when I saw my mom drinking, I was like, that's her. And I know she have a sickness. And just drinking like cases and cases and just cases of beer, just cases, and just drinking and drinking and drinking. And I know she have an issue. And I know that I don't want to be that person that I just have to drink cases, and I have to. I can't miss a day without it. And I saw her doing it, and it made me sad. But I know, like, I don't judge her, because she have a right to do what she want to do. But could I live in that type of environment? No. And I've noticed that when you're addicted to that, it affects your health. And even the guy that she's with, it affected his health, having kidney issues and all of that. But yet you still love to drink every single day, cases and cases and cases, and just beer cans everywhere. And growing up, I witnessed that. And as I look at being diagnosed with bipolar, it was a lot in my childhood, in my early adulthood, that really affected me. And when I was able to really talk about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was going through that. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And that makes a lot of sense. It is a disease, and it is a disease, and it's an addiction. It is. All right. So let's open up the StreamYard. Okay. I did not expect to go back live today, but this is good. Love talking to the producers. Hey, is it how you pronounce your name?
Lawson.
Hey, Lawson, go ahead. What you have to say?
Yes, I just want to say that you need to pay the library their money. You are a tired ass
Oh,
queen, and we
oh,
are so sick of
oh,
you.
okay. Hold
You
on. Let me
want
say
us?
this. Let me
You
let me
want us to
let me
feel
let,
sorry?
let me say let me say this. You don't have to feel sorry for me or anything like that. No one have to feel sorry for me. I'm just sharing my story, and I will always share my story. But yet you can't come on cussing. I'm sorry, Lawson. I'm so sorry. I will let you stay on, but you can't cuss. So sorry. Okay, I would have bring you one of you to show yourself on camera. I'm so sorry. No, you can't come on cussing. Yeah, bipolar with psychosis. Yes, absolutely. Um, absolutely. Sounds like you had some childhood trauma, which erupted on the day of your breakdown. Oh yeah, I had a lot of childhood trauma. And one thing that I could notice that I'm going to show you this of the childhood. Seeing my mother drinking and doing it, and I could just remember how she would drink, and she would get in these arguments, and she would break stuff, and the police would come. It was so bad. Every single weekend, the police would be there, and she was a functioning alcoholic because she will work, but on the weekends, oh my gosh, it was the police every single day. They would be fighting. It would be aggressive, and they would just come every single day. And the only reason why I don't think the police were arrested because she had 6 kids, and they kind of felt sorry for her, but they knew every single weekend the police will come because it will be some type of argument, some type of drama. And then I started to notice see my mother, she would talk to herself and she would Hattie say, and it would be nobody downstairs. It would be just her talking. I'm like, what's going on with that? And I didn't notice that till I got older that okay, she battled with some things as well. And that really affected me. And I started to live with my grandmother and it was hurtful because I didn't want to leave my mom, but I just got tired of just calling the police and breaking up fights. You know what I'm saying? Cleaning up broken glass. You know what I'm saying? Seeing a neighbor, seeing the police yet coming yet again, seeing people falling down the stairs. It was very embarrassing. And I just got tired. I'm like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of breaking up these fights. I'm tired of the police keep coming. I'm tired of this. It's just foolish. So I went to my grandmother's house because her house was more peaceful. And it was very peaceful, no alcohol. She was a Christian. She was in the church, and I would go to church. And I started to go to church and I had to go to church. It was a rule. You live in my house, you go on to church. And we only went to church when I went on my mom. When I only on holidays, on Christmas, on Easter. That was it. But when I moved with my grandmother, I was about maybe 12 or 13 years old. It was church every single day. Okay. I went to church every single day. And I started to join the choir and started to direct the choir. I was really good with that. And then my uncle didn't have any man in the church because it was a very small church. He didn't have any brothers in the church. People would just leave. And so he said, Marquise, I need you to put up the offering. I need you to lock the doors. I'm going to give you the code to the alarm system. So I would do all of this stuff for the church. And but once I told my uncle at the age of 13, because he would preach against homosexuality a lot, to the point it scared the heck out of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I knew that I this, I knew I was gay. So I told him at the age of 13, remember like it was yesterday, I told my uncle, I need to talk to you about, being gay. I'm gay. So and then he said, so we had a conversation. Um, we had a conversation about that. And I could just remember, that I started to get on the altar, call Jesus, and I would tell the people, "Oh, I'm gay. I need to be delivered." And it was right in front of the church, and all of this stuff that that I was yet going through. it was really, really sad because I was so sad because every day I would hear that you're going to hell. And it was the day of the post shooting in the nightclub. Y'all remember that? I remember watching that on CNN, and I remember getting ready for church. And some told me, oh, this will be the day that he's going to preach against Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, this is going to be the day where it's going to be some anti-gay language spoken. So went to church, and I remember my uncle got up and he said, I was so sad today because I heard this woman was just crying. And I was real sad today. And I'm like, oh, the woman was crying, I was so sad. But then she kept speaking that her son and his lover. And then my uncle said, what do you expect to happen when you have this spirit? But I was so hurt. And I walked out. I really walked out, because I was really hurt by that. That really affected me. People, lost their lives. That could have been me because I've been in and out of side of gay clubs. That could have been me. And people were looking at me, and it was really weird. And it was really, really sad. And another point before that, I was directing a choir, and then I started to, live with this person that I met. And then I wanted to, get into the gay lifestyle. I started to indulge more and more into it. And my uncle called me in his office one day, and he said, oh, you know, um, you can't direct a choir anymore. You have a spirit. And if that's, you have that spirit, and we don't want that spirit to leap on other members. I'm like, okay. I said, well, do you want the keys back? Oh, no, you can keep the keys, and you can keep, open up the church doors, but you can't direct the choir. That day, one of the worst days of my life, and I could just remember just hurt, crying, confused, right? And all of this happened before the library situation. That was a couple of years, like what, 4 or 5 years before the library situation. So all this trauma that I didn't know what's going on, right? And that's the time I was with my friend. I call him my cousin Tank. I would live with him, and I just started indulging to the gay lifestyle more and more because the place that I was at, I wasn't received. So I'm like, okay, let me indulge more and more into the gay lifestyle. And that's when I started to um blog on Blog Talk Radio. So I had like a little radio show. And I went back to church, and I was called into the pastor office again. And he's my uncle. He was like, I got this letter, this message, and it said, why do you have this gay Marquise Wiley, this gay praise and worship leader at your church? And they wrote the letter, and they must have submitted it to some members or whatever. And it was prayer night. And he said, well, I don't want you to stay here. So I said, do you want me to stay? He said, I know, I think you should leave. And I had to leave. So I left the church. I couldn't stay because of that. And again, I just started indulging more and more and more and more and more. Really, really sad, right? But before all of that, I was real close with my uncle. Really, really close with him. I had I was the armor bearer, I was the director of choir, really, 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 really close with him. And that relationship was just tremendously broken. And I could just remember that in Chicago, it must have been 2015, 2016. I don't remember the year, but I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking, I was up, I was pacing, right? And I start arguing, cussing people out in my family. And that was during the time where I was friends with Armon, because during that time he was coming up, and I was doing a radio show, and I saw him on Facebook, and me and him just started to be cool. We would literally talk for hours every single day, like brothers. Like, we would talk every single day, and I would do his show. And one particular day, it was just bad problems in Chicago. I would leak stuff on Facebook, go live, and I was just arguing with people in the church, arguing with people at the house, and I was cussing everybody. Now, mind you, my mother never heard me cuss. Like, I never cussed around my mom, but during that day, I was cussing her out hard. I was cussing everybody out. The police came multiple times, and they said, well, just do an order of protection to get him out your house. So I got the order they got the order of protection. I will never forget it. The police came, said, oh, you can't be here. And I was like, I'm recording you too. And then the police said, you can't record me. I'm like, okay. So we just outside just arguing down. And so I got my clothes, I left, and I had a sister that was co-hosting the show with me. She allowed me to live with her. And I called my cousin in Dallas. At first, Armon called me, and I was going to move to California because he was going to help me get to California. But that kind of fell through. And my cousin called me. He said, "Oh, you can move, to Dallas. Come on." And stuff like that. But he first asked me, he said, "Girl, are you on drugs?" I'm like, "No, I'm not on drugs." But I didn't have no voice. It was just over. I was in a terrible space. And that's how I was able to get to the Greyhound from Chicago to Dallas. I because of him. Yeah. So I remember that. You never know what a person went through. And I went through a lot, right? I literally been through it. And that time that was so hurtful because I never ever been outside Chicago for a long period of time. I've always had a way to just go back home. Never couldn't go back home. Nobody answered. My mother wasn't answered. It was just like I was dead to them, and someone told me that. So, our mom called me, and I said to him, "Why don't you?" Why don't you? I said to him, he was asking me what was going on. This before I got to Dallas. This is what made him kind of fell out. I want to share this story again. I said, you should interview my family. And at that time, I wasn't talking right? Not my regular self. I had bronchitis. I was terrible. I was a hot mess. Clogs of yellow stuff just all in my mouth. It was a hot mess. But I remember telling him in the police station I was at, and the reason why I was at the police station is because when you get an order of protection, the police have to, in the order, it said you can get your stuff with a police escort. So that is why I was at District 7, the Chicago police station. I was there so they could take me to my grandma's house and retrieve my items. But before I was there, I was like, you need to do this and you need to interview my family. And so he agreed to do it. At first, he didn't want to do it. He was like, no, I don't want to do it. I said, you got to do it. And I'm just talking 50 miles an hour. He's like, okay, cool. I would, I would do it, So actually, not my family, I'm sorry, interview me is the case. And so I can expose my family. So that was the agreement. So you can interview me. So we get on Facebook and I'm crying. I'm having these breakdowns. I'm saying this up. Then my family, they come on. My sister, my mom come on. And they said, I don't know if he's on drugs. And it was a hot, sticky mess. It was so ghetto. Like literally my mom on there, my sister on there. And I said what I said. Kelly wanted to come on and speak about it. Kelly Mizrahi at the time, she wanted to interview. It was a hot mess. And I was a hot mess. No, I shouldn't have did no interview. I think Armon at that time, he was sick. He had gosh, what did he have? Something was going on with his face where half of it was like frozen. He had some type of illness. I do remember that. And he wasn't well to do it. And so he did it. And it was all of it was just a hot mess, right? So I can laugh at it now, but it was heated. Me and my mother, it was really, really it was the entire, it was just a hot mess. And so before that, my mom, Bell palsy. That's what he had. He had Bell palsy. And half his face like was one eye wasn't even blinking. I mean, they was roasting him, they was roasting me. The whole situation, it was terrible. It was terrible. It really was. This situation should not have been on the internet, but it was on the internet, baby. It was on the internet. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was just crying and Armon was laughing. Now, mind you, he thought all of this was a joke, not knowing I'm really going through it. I couldn't keep my emotions intact. As I look at it now, I needed some treatment. I needed help. And the only thing I knew was to go on the internet, right? So we there, and that situation happened, and we were talking, we were having these conversations, and I was talking with him, and he was trying to get it through me, and I just remember just being on the phone with him, just crying. I was just over it, like I was angry at him, and I knew that I had an issue, right? And gosh, can I share this? Do y'all want to hear this? Press one if y'all want to hear this. Me and him had a friendship. Now, I want to speak about that because I get this on social media a lot. And I have a lot of new people that don't know this story. If you're day ones, you know this story. But when I first met Armon, me and him were really cool. We were at a good place, like brothers. We will talk every single day. Hey man, how you doing, man? Got this going about this. He wasn't, he have always been a person where he always wanted to be famous, but something that you all do not know, when we would talk, I will always encourage him to get on YouTube, right? To be this YouTube star, because I knew he was going to be a star. I saw it in him then, because he had something special. And he said, no, I don't want to get on social. I don't want to get on YouTube. I'm cool with Facebook. I'm cool. And I remember encouraging him on the phone, get on YouTube. And I just remember that. And we started to fall out. It was really me because it was my sickness, right? I was cussing him out. Like one day I could be cool with him. Next day, you're the worst person on earth. So it would be back and forth over and 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 over again. And eventually, we both got on YouTube, and he was coming up, and Tasha K was implemented into the situation. And I want to share this story to you guys so you all can hear this with this situation. Tasha K came through, and I didn't trust Tasha. I said, I don't trust her. I said, I don't trust this. I don't think that it's going to work. I said it on there. I said, I don't think this is going to work. So Tasha came through. He said, oh, Tasha's the best. She's great and stuff like that. We would talk on the phone. I would come and do a show and stuff like that. And it was something I wanted to do. This is when we fell out, like the YouTube version, because we've been falling out on Facebook. But the YouTube stuff, we fell out. Gosh. Hold up. I just got a DM in my message. Shout out to this celebrity just reached out to me. Anyway, so this the part where we fell out on YouTube. So I interviewed a YouTuber by the name of Jay Wilson. And I wanted to interview him because I was so fascinated. I said, I want him on the show. I thought he was a preacher and all of that. He was talking about the Kaya. He was talking about just some random stuff, right? And I just wanted to interview him. And to Armon, he thought that I wanted to interview him because he hate Jay Wilson and stuff like that. That's when we had the falling out. And I wanted to ask him this a simple question. I will never forget the day I asked him. I said, can you teach me how to use Skype to bring Jay Wilson on so I can interview him? He said, no, I'm not going to tell you that. I said, okay. Ask your friends, your new friends, how to use Skype. Because on that time, I don't think StreamYard exists. If it did, I didn't know nothing about no StreamYard. I was like, that's fine. I did Blog Talk Radio. I had my phone and I interviewed Jay Wilson. The interview wasn't about Armon at all. We didn't drag him. It was nothing like that. And I noticed that that was the case. And another issue in our friendship, little pieces of it, he would say, why don't you stop doing what you're doing and just follow what I'm doing? And I didn't want to do that. I did not want to do that because I've been doing the Wiley Show before I met him, and I just didn't want to stop. I liked doing what I was doing. And he said, just stop doing what you're doing, just follow me. And then once I make it, I'll just put you on. And I just did not want to do that, right? That was my decision that I made. And so me and him started to, fall out. And it is what it is. And we never could see eye to eye, no pun intended. To this day, we couldn't see eye to eye to the point. And so we both started to gain into popularity uh on the show, and I started to get my own audience. He started to get his own audience, and I started to notice that he was doing some behind the scenes things against me, telling people not to come on our show. And I noticed that. And I just noticed it was just some weird stuff. And another thing he started to do, him and his friend, they started to start a wicked campaign against us that was based in all lies. And I started to know that. And I said, oh, this is getting weird. And he was angry that Tasha K started coming on our platform. And I noticed that he's really started to get really, really angry at that. And I said, I don't have no control of why she came on our show, of why she said it. And I remember he called me and he said, I want to come on your show. I want to come on your show. And I said, that's fine. So he come on, we do the show. And again, I noticed that during that time, you're talking with somebody that got the fame, got some popularity, and he's not the same person before the fame. So I just knew it wasn't going to work, and I just knew we on two different paths. When it comes to this YouTube game, his opinion of a friendship is one way, my opinion of friendship is another way. So we can never ever see eye the eye when it comes to it. And so when he came on the show, I just knew we wouldn't be cool. It just wouldn't happen, unfortunately, because he was doing stuff, behind the scenes, and he would not agree to his friend to take down those videos of the wicked lies he did. He didn't do that. So I said, I'm gonna still do what I'm doing. You're not agreeing to the truths, because a true truth would be like, okay, bro, take them videos down, because that's a bunch of bullshit. Didn't do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna still say what I got to say. So all of that situation happened, and I get another phone call. This one I know, like, people were having meetings about me. Different moderators was having meetings about Poe Little Wiley. And I started to notice that I said to this particular person, I said, why are you being used as a pawn? Because I'm not that type of person. It was a blogger coming up. And they came to Dallas. And they said, hey, Wiley, I want to come meet you. I want to take some pictures. And some told me, don't meet that person. And I never went to go meet him, because I don't like it when you do evil stuff to me and you think I'm about to take a picture with you. That's just not going to happen. Not at all. I'm not that desperate to take a picture or meet you or link up with you, because it's some evil hand stuff. But that person came back and, they apologized to us, and they didn't mean to do what they did. They say, oh, I apologize. I'm sorry for what I did. That was cool. And, King Payne, we had an interview with him, and how full circle moment happened. He comes on our show, and of course we had a conversation, and I understood what he was coming from, and we kind of resolved that, and we moved on. And so when it comes to the Wiley Show, I know for a fact that when he came on, he wanted me to be loyal. And his definition of loyal is that I can't be critical of him. And it's just that. And then I started to notice on Station Head, he would say stuff on Station Head, and a lot. And I'm like, why is he saying my name? Why is he talking about me? And I don't understand it. And it was all based on Tasha. And he would say this nasty stuff that Tasha said about Wiley. And he would say this stuff on his Station Head. And, many people don't have Station Head because it's a third, another app. So people don't know. But of course, people were screenshotting to me and sending it all to me on station head. When it comes to that. So, and I say, oh, this is just mutual. We just saying what we're saying. And the library situation came up. And once again, he's in different people comments, is trying to push this narrative because we're growing to popularity, and that's all what it is. Anytime that you grow, you would get people to make comments and stuff like that, and then he would make these comments like psycho and crazy and all of this. And, I could get real dirty. I could share some things that people don't know. I can do a lot of things that that people will be very entertained by, but I choose not to go to that gutter because like I said, I'm in a better place. But I could get dirty, but I don't want to get dirty. I want to stay clean and fresh. um so, yeah, so we having these conversations, and I just had to do a video today. So again, I'm going to post a link in the comments again. If anybody else want to come on really quickly, and I just had to talk about the library situation. I hope y'all got the full story of it, and it will make sense, for those that will tune in for the documentary whenever we get that release. It is what it is. But yeah, you stay true to what Wiley, because you don't even have to be dirty. You don't, and I refuse to. But I want to give a special shout out to people that understand the story, and it's real good. And anytime people talk about me, I go live and I respond to my audience, right? This is the first time, not the first time, we talked about this in the B sector a lot of times. This is the first time in the celebrity gossip that we're being discussed like this, and it will not be the last. It will not be the last. It will, people will always bring up your situation. That just what goes on in this business, and I know this, right? And we want to say shout out to the new people, shout out to people that subscribe to the channel, shout out to those that disagree with us. Yeah, you said something about the library and Emmett Till make fun of Wiley so ignorant, right? When people make fun of people, but this is for. Can I say this? I really want to say this is for the people that is going through things, like do not understand that going through things that with an illness. Like, it's okay. You're going to be talked about, because I still get talked about to this day. It's okay. Just take whatever you have to do, some therapy and some meds to be on the level and stuff like that. So but yeah, we still go roast the gag. I got a lot of roasts to do. We was on Monica show, all about the tea. People are mad, and you want to continue to be mad because we still ourselves and we shine like a diamond, and stuff like that. No, we didn't break down in any tears. I could have cried, but I'm in a better place now. Have I cried on the internet? Oh, absolutely. I'm one of the first ones probably that cried on the internet. Yeah. So when you get talked about, you made it. You really made it on these streets, right? And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It is. And I would definitely always, tell our story on this show, right? I would definitely tell our story on the show and stuff like that. But yeah, it really is. So I want to get a special shout out to all the producers in here. Yeah, definitely. Can I ask you the question? Okay, you keep saying I have no compassion for players. I have very much compassion for her. I wish her, well. You know what I'm saying? And I wish her well. People think that I don't like players. I reached out to players and the DMs, and we had a conversation. So I don't see the issue. You know what I'm saying? I said what I said, and I told her what she told me, and we kept it clean. All right. Can you go live on your show too when you go? No, I do all about the tea. Because it's a great brand, and I like Monica. I like her vibes. Even our conversations offline have been awesome. Has been awesome. Do I dislike players? No, I do not. I think that she is uh, a talent, and she have a voice, and yeah. And I reached out to her, so I think we're good. I think we're good, right? Yeah. Because people really think that I don't like her, and I do. What I said was, I'm a comedian, and I just made a joke, and it was funny. Yeah, that wasn't what I meant by my question. Okay, well, you come live and speak to me. Very true to your testimony with the library situation. Um, help me make an argument to my attorney and ultimately result in my case being dismissed. Your story is helping people out there. Yes, it is. Absolutely, it is. It is. You should do voiceovers. Yes, I would love to do that. They said player seems the type to have a conversation and give grace. Yeah, she's a great lady. She understood where I was coming from. It's a business, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But she's good. She's good. And people were coming at me as soon as I was on these different shows. Just go live on your channel when she go on All About the Tea. You said, who want me to go live? No, I don't understand your question, Ozzy or Uzi. She just wants you to go live on your channel when you go All About the Tea. I don't know. Somebody said, be careful, Wiley. Okay, all right. Somebody said, I'm so glad to find your channel. I love what you do and how you do it. Have live content genius. Them callers makes the show. It does. It really does. Yes. Okay. But did y'all like us on All About the Tea? Okay. It's our turn. Absolutely. It's our turn. We have been, it's our turn. We're gonna continue to do it. Right. People when they go live, if drop me a link, I go on tour and do a press tour. While you go tour. I go live and do a press tour. Yes, truly blessed because it could have been me watching Wiley. I would have known this particular information. Yes, facts. I was there to support you. Facts. Thank you. Thank you. And it was just the grace. And I personally would like to thank, the producers for helping me doing that transition because y'all helped me get through this transition. And I want to say thank you for that, for helping me. And I just want to say shout out to the producers. Y'all have did that. Y'all have. Y'all are there for us. And shout out to the beef sector. Remember you used to your the beef sector. Yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. I used to tour the beef sector. I remember that. Shout out to the beef sector. And we do celebrity gossip now. Thank you. When did this incident happen? This happened in 2018, I believe. Yeah, in 2018. That's when that happened. I was 20. What? Y'all heard the article. They said it was a great show with Monica. It was. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to open up these phone lines but I can't use this 4K camera. So what I'm going to do is, because I know it's a lot of people that going to want to call in and speak. Okay. So I'm going to open up the phone lines because y'all like the phone lines. Y'all do not like it when I drop the straight yard link. Y'all be like, what's that? So I'm going to open up the phone lines. Oh, this look totally different. But anywho, it's only why I open up these phone lines. Look totally different with this, but I kind of like the purple one. All right, give me a second while I open up these lines really quickly because y'all like the phone lines versus StreamYard. So I'll open up the lines and let y'all speak. All right, no profanity. Okay, respect my platform because y'all can't go to these other platforms cussing. Not saying that you have to sing my praises, and I'm going to allow you to speak. If you disagree with me, that's fine. because I know how to mute myself and allow you to speak. So give me a second. I'm gonna open the phone lines. That's the only way I'm gonna open it up. Hold on 1 second. All right. I'm gonna be. Let me see. Where is this at? Okay. All right. All right. We got to open these phone lines. Producers, moderators, if you're in the chat, can you post the 646 number for me, please? Yeah, just post that. Let's get these phone lines open up. Woo! Ciao. Oh, this fruit punch do not taste right when it's
Your
not
show
cold.
now, press 1. To hear important instructions, press...
Your show is scheduled to start in 24 seconds.
All right, let me put the number on here because I know some people don't know to drop the StreamYard. So give me a second. Oh,
Your show will go
2017.
live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
All right. So if anybody want to call in, I got the number open up, and I might even go back live again because I feel like talking about some more celebrities. I might go back live after this. Okay, the number is on there. If anybody want to call in, that is the number. The number is 646-716-8447. We have gotten educated in here because we had a psychiatrist in the chat. I don't know if they still in the chat, but they were talking about, the psychosis and all of that. And so that was great. I would love to interview a psychiatrist. I would definitely love to interview someone that is an expert in bipolar disorder, bipolar 1, bipolar 2. I would love to have somebody in, expert in that. So I would love to like bring them on YouTube to talk about that. I would love that. I really would. Okay. All right, we live. Yeah, this was great. This was really great. Oh, okay. All right, I'm looking. Oh yeah, I would post. Somebody said get that conversation on me direct and quiet. I would post that to. I'm gonna share it on my community wall. Somebody want me to post that. I'll post it on my. Oh gosh, what was that? Hold on, y'all. What was that? I'm a psychiatrist. Yes, I will have to come on. Yes, call in. We have the phone lines open up. So call in. We would love for you to speak on that. We have the phone lines open up. We have the phone lines. We have the phone lines open up, so definitely call in. It's kind of square. I hope you two can set something up as well. Yes, I would love that because he or is it okay? I would love that. That would be lovely. Okay, give me a second. I'll drop the StreamYard. Hold on, I'll drop it. Give me a second. And I got the phone lines open up. Oh, somebody sent me a video. Hold on. Let me see. Who is that? Oh, damn. Something happened. It's like, oh, what the world? Hold on. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. Yes. Okay, I'm looking at something. All right, we got the phone lines open up. This is the time to call in. The number is 646 Okay. Is it Nikki? All right, hold on. Okay. All right, hold on. Give me a second. There's something going on with my chair. Hold up. This chair just went and sucked down. Hold on, y'all. There we go. All right. Let's bring the person on. Hold on one second. Give me a second. I'm putting this up. All right. You live on the air. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
I am a psychotherapist. I'm not a psychologist. I am a
Okay.
psychotherapist.
Okay.
So,
What's the difference? Can you tell me what's the difference?
well, the difference, I have a master's degree, and a psychologist has a doctoral degree.
Okay.
And a psychiatrist is a medical doctor.
Okay.
So the psychiatrist is the one that you would see for medication management,
Okay.
and somebody like me is the talk therapist. So we do the talk therapy, the social work kind of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to say, like, I want to thank you for like sharing your story. Although I know that it sounds like some other channels are trying to kind of expose you, but I think in you being able to share your story and what happened to you is really going to help so many people who don't seek therapy or don't know that, there are going to be days when when you're bipolar, you're going to have those days when you're not doing well. And to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that there is help and there is treatment
Mhm.
is wonderful.
Yeah, because for me, it was difficult for me to have friends being bipolar because your attitude, for
Oh,
me,
yeah,
can change on just like that.
it's up and down.
Yeah. So when it's speaking about the library situation, me having like hearing voices and not eating,
Yeah.
wow, I just didn't know what was going on.
Well, most people who have bipolar don't have psychotic episodes.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty rare for bipolar. Usually we see that in schizophrenic.
Okay.
They live their entire life like that.
Okay.
They live like that all the time. They have, the psychosis and the delusions, hallucinations. But when it happens to people with bipolar, usually what happens is you are so stressed out. You have layers and layers of stress. And then finally, it's this break between reality and what's not reality. And that's when we see the psychosis in people with bipolar.
Mm.
But it's rare and it'll probably never happen to you again.
Wow. Because I was like, what the heck happened? It was like, wow.
Yeah,
Because I always ask the question, would that ever happen again?
probably not. As long as you are stable, like if you're taking meds, you're consistent, you have a support team, you have a therapist, you have a psychiatrist that you can reach out to, you're decreasing your stress. See, the stress is what will trigger it. So
Mm.
you got to be very careful about people who bring you stress, and you need to leave them alone. You know what I mean?
Because I'm telling you, like stress, it was a lot of stress. I was sitting through that moment,
That's what happened.
you know, family stress, being in
Hmm.
a place. It was just building up. But I noticed that even in Chicago, I was having issues as well, and it just got pushed
Hmm.
to Dallas, and it got worse because that was like even more stress, and it was like literally a breaking point.
That's right.
It was it
That's what happened to you.
it was a break, and thank God that I'm here to tell the story. Because
Oh
anytime
my
we
God, yes,
show up, it's just a blessing that
it
I'm
is.
still here to tell the story. Because it's not so many people have mental breaks, and they're not here to tell the story.
Hmm.
At least just boom, 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 end of their life.
That's right. I mean, that's why we advocate that police do have, like, I mean, I live in the state of Pennsylvania, so when our police officers go out on a call that they know it's a person with maybe some mental health issues, we have a crisis team that goes out with them. And so they're able to assess the situation sometimes, not all the time,
Facts.
but it's very helpful for our police officers to know what to do. And
Yeah.
so that's something that we continue to advocate and throughout all the states,
That,
because we just had an incident like that in Philly, where an officer killed a young man that was having a psychotic break in front of his mother.
yeah, I remember that.
You remember that? Mm-hmm.
I remember that because I just remember, and that was so sad. That was
It
really
was.
sad. And another thing too, sleep, because I remember I could be up for like days
Oh yeah.
and days, and I feel like I'm on the top of the world.
You were
I,
manic.
yeah, I was very, very manic, and I'm like, oh, I'm on the top of the world, and everything, outside, sunny day, just walking, and it's just. I remember I would pick up little projects, and even when I went to Walmart, I could just remember like everybody's
Mhm.
here, and I would just go here, go there. I don't know if I was coming or going, but
Oh
that was
yeah.
that was that manic. I was really manic, and I was
You were
like,
manic.
yeah, and
My clients hate when I hospitalize them during their mania, because they're like, I feel so good, I feel so great. I'm like, you're manic.
yeah.
It can be just as destructive, and deceiving, and it can destroy your life worse than depression.
Yes, because it's like it's a feeling like I can go without sex. When I have that mania, oh, okay, I have sex. It's the best. So and like
With
it's like
anybody too, honey. With anybody.
anybody. It's just oh, I feel so good. And it's like a different type of rush. Even when I do
Yes.
even when I'm live, I can really tell when I'm manic. I'm talking loud. One thing when you
Yes.
start speaking and you start speaking like boom, 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 like 50 words a
Mhm.
minute, like
Mhm.
really fast
Mhm.
and not
That's
really
right.
making sense. I remember that. I can remember doing projects and having clothes here, papers here, doing this, and next you know the whole
Yes.
just in a disarray. That's a part of
That's right.
that manic. Yes, I've been there. I've been there.
Manic is, I always say, manic can be worse than depression. Depression, if
Yeah,
for somebody who's bipolar, is bad, because then you can start to have suicidal thoughts, and that's bad.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But you're less destructive. You're kind of just home, sleep, maybe not taking a bath. But when you're manic, you're just running all over town like crazy person.
Yeah, and buying stuff and just going here, going there. I was just like, dude, I remember I went to Atlanta and I was really manic. And I just
Yes.
snapped on my cousin. It was really crazy. And I tried to smoke. It felt like I felt different.
Hmm.
I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder. I just felt weird.
That's right.
Feel myself. But now when I'm medicated, I'm like, oh,
You
okay.
got the balance. You're
It's
balanced.
it's a balance. And I resisted the medicine for a long time. I'm like,
I'm
"Oh,
sure.
I don't need no medicine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. And then next thing you know, I'll be up for 3 days, 4 days, and
I know.
just pacing. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. And I've been back into the hospital a couple of times because
Sure.
it was unbearable.
Right.
I
And
was
that's okay. And that is okay. Because what happens with psychotropic medications is that sometimes you start to kind of reach the wall with them. And so it needs to be revamped. And
absolutely,
that's okay. And if the safest place to do that is the hospital.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
that's okay. Every couple of years, you might need to go in just to have your meds, reevaluated, make sure you're good. And it's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're exactly right. I'm glad we having this conversation because some people
Yes.
they're like, oh, how would you go to the library if you didn't want nothing going? How do you remember? You can remember when you're manic. It ain't like your
Oh,
memory gone.
absolutely.
You can,
Absolutely. You were at the end of you were at the end of the mania.
wow.
You were at the end of it, and that was just the final eruption. That's why I asked you about childhood trauma, because if you've dealt with childhood trauma and never had therapy, never dealt with it, all of those things, and then all the stress that you were experiencing, it makes perfect sense that that happened that day to
Wow.
us in the mental health field. It makes sense. And
Mm,
it's okay. You survived it.
Yeah. Because it was a lot of, and I didn't know I had trauma. I just did not
Sure.
know. And then when you talk about it, I'm like, oh, that's a whole lot of trauma. And
You had a whole lot of trauma. Just me now, you talking about your mom and the weekends. Do you know I can imagine you as a little boy, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, your stress, your anxiety increased as you got closer to the weekend
yeah.
because you knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you lived with that for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everybody was shocked because they was like, how is this happening with this guy? He was directing the what happened? Like, but they didn't
Hmm.
know the behind the scenes, the trauma.
That's right.
My mother didn't know the trauma that I developed in church because that can cause trauma too. When somebody,
Oh,
oh, you,
please, yes.
you can't direct the choir or you going to hell, that can affect your mental health.
Absolutely.
And do you know, for years, it's for a while for me to make a decision because I'm like, oh, I may go to hell for that. Oh, I can't go to the movies. That's
Listen,
that's
any of us that grew up in a Baptist church experienced that trauma. I let a boy touch me for the first time. I was like, I'm going to hell. I'm a whore.
right. It's so yeah, that really
Right.
affected my mental. That really affected my mental health. Like, because for a long time I said, "Oh, I'm not gonna live long," and I was
Right.
saying stuff over and over, and that affected me. And so now that we having this conversation, it's good to talk with somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, keep in touch with me. I
Yeah,
have a channel. Email me. Let's keep in touch.
we definitely will keep in touch. You know what I'm saying? I love you guys
Absolutely.
here because you're coming from that field. Because most people that's talking about this, they're not
Right.
in the mental health field, so they don't know. They don't.
27 years. 27 years.
They don't know. But I'm glad that we're having this conversation.
Yes, yes, yes. We must continue this.
Yes, thank you so much. We will continue it. This was
Yes, I'm gonna reach out to you. I'll email you.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Woo, wow. You just never know. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to change cameras right quick because somebody said they want to call in. So give me a second while I change cameras. Oh, okay. If you call it in, let me check this out because I don't like this camera how it look. I'll go to this way. All right, the number is 646-716-8447. And churches do need to do better. Yes. Yes. Okay. People definitely need to do better. And yeah, we making people go live and talk about it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, child. That to me, I'm so honored. I am here for it. Okay. Let them talk about me. Who cares? All right, so I want to make sure people can actually hear me. I mean, actually get their point across that want to call in. So give me a second, real quick, because somebody had called in and hung up. Anonymous, you live on the air. I'm sorry.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. Hey, Wiley.
Hey,
Um, I didn't know about the library thing until 2 days ago
yes,
when I saw it on this girl live, and I was like, oh my god! But then I remember you saying that you dealt with some mental issues or whatever. So I understand that because I know people like that. So it's nothing to make fun of when people are going through a break because at any point, I feel like we all can lose our mind, or something happened that triggers something and we just, go off. And it doesn't matter if you're in a library, a gas station, or a grocery store. That can happen anywhere.
facts.
So, I don't think it's not nice to make fun of people like that. But I'm happy that, you can talk about it, laugh about it, and you address it. So the people who are bringing it up, like I already addressed this, so why y'all putting this out now or whatever? But it goes to show you how they feel about people like that.
Oh
So
yes,
it says a lot about their character and not yours,
facts. You-
So and I'm kind of happy that you got help because I heard on one of your lives, you said that was a moment you realized that you actually needed help. So that probably saved your life. Look at it like this, $10,000 in damages probably saved your life.
Absolutely,
So,
it did.
I mean,
It
is
did
it
save my
worth
life.
it?
It did say it saved my life because it really was a moment, and it actually noticed that some family members, they said, "Oh wow, he really do have an issue that is deeper." But it did save my life. It did, absolutely, it did.
Right. And then, I just kind of feel like, I wish people will not make fun of it because maybe somebody else is dealing with that. And now they're not comfortable, telling, somebody because, they think they're going to be made fun of or called crazy or whatever. And I mean, I just feel sorry for these people who is not compassionate or, who don't understand, what somebody who do not think like them can be going through because, I don't know. And you said, and I see in your title, you said, is Armon Wiggins enjoying this? I'm pretty sure he is because, who's to say that, he's not crazy. Sometimes he has me thinking that, something is wrong with him when he's on that show doing all that. So, don't judge people because of one incident because your obsession with certain people can be a mental illness too. So, let's not go there or whatnot. But I just think it's sad, that they make fun of people, who is different and who don't think like them. Like who made them, this perfect person. I'm pretty sure if we start looking at some things that they did, years ago, we'll be up here laughing too and, making videos.
Oh yeah, yeah. And when people, when you see people on there, and this is true, when people get angry and they get so upset and stuff, people had issues and stuff like that. I just pray that they don't have a breaking point. I pray that you get the help that you need, period. Because it's unfortunate.
Right.
And it was meant for me to experience this. And there's no telling what else in my life or who else I saved tonight we yet dealing with it because people yet go through things.
Right. And then the thing about it is I feel like if you make fun of a mentally ill person, you will make fun of a mother who has like postpartum depression because in her mind, she's, not right either. I was reading a story where a woman jumped out the window with her kids,
I remember
and
that.
she just had like a 1 month old or whatever. So will they make a video and laugh about that? Because in my mind, that's the same thing.
Facts.
So, don't make fun of people because you don't like a person or whatever. And like I said, a lot of stuff they're doing, we can't consider mentally illness with the obsession that they have, with certain people. That's mentally ill.
Well, you're right about that. All right. So, thank you so very much for calling in, sister.
Okay. Thank you, Wiley.
All right. We're going to go to the next caller. Anonymous, you live on the air.
It was.
Hey. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Can you hear?
I can hear you, yes.
Not for one member, but I just wanted to leave you with, after hearing your story and stuff, I just wanted to leave you with, you had an episode, but you on the road to success, Wiley. And just continue to stay that to yourself.
Oh yes.
You hear what I'm saying?
Oh yes.
You had an episode, but now you're on the road to success, Wiley.
Thank you. Thank you for
had an episode, but now you're on the road to success.
Thank you.
Wiley. Can you say that with me?
I had an episode on the road to success. I received that. Thank you for that message, sister.
Yes.
All right. I'll talk to you. Thank you. All right, you guys. Thank you so very much for calling in. Today, we will see y'all in the next live. Make sure y'all follow me at Wiley Show and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will see y'all in the next live. Peace.